In this lesson, we're going to learn how to filter our results. So I'm starting out with a query of every person in the person table, and it's around 19,900 rows. And of course, in many situations, you don't want to bring back every row in a table. We've seen how you can use offset and fetch to bring back a selected number of rows. But what if we want to bring back rows that match a specific criteria, such as maybe where the title of the person is Mr. or Mrs.? Can we do that? And the answer is, of course, and we use what's called the where clause. And the where clause is placed after the from. And so it'd be like select, first name, last name, from, person, where, and then the expression. And in this case, we're doing equality. So I can say where the title equals Mr. So title is a column in my table here. So in fact, I could put title here just to, let's do this just to make it a little more illustrative. So I'm going to say title and then comma. In fact, let's get rid of the where for a second just so you can see what the data looks like. So when I run this, you'll see there's titles that have null values, which means they're not specified. I got Mrs., Mr., and so on. So let's do now a search where we're just going to bring back everybody that's title is Mr. When I run this, you see now I bring back everybody that's Mr. So this is called an equality. I can also do inequalities. And to do an inequality, you use the opposing less than and greater than sign. And when I run this, this should bring back every record where the person is not a Mr. And you can see it does that. The one thing that's curious is you're going to see that it's not bringing back the null values. You would think those would be brought back, but null is really a special case, and we will get into it later. But just to show you what I mean, for null you would say where is null. Null is a special value. It has a special comparison, so I could say or title is null. And when I run this, it brings back every title where the value is null. So you need to explicitly test for null. You can't just say where title's not Mr. and then expect the null values to also come through. You can also do range conditions. So if I wanted to find out, for instance, every person whose last name is, let's say greater than the letter A, I could say where last name, so I can use a telesense here, is greater than or equal to, and then B. All right. And that'll bring back everybody whose last name is greater than or equal to B. Now, you may not believe me here, so let's do an order by, just so we can see the results ordered by last name, right? So here you're also seeing where I'm starting to combine some of our clauses together. And I think it's important to also understand there's a specific order to how these clauses are strung together. It starts with select, then from, where, and then order by. So what we're really saying is these are the columns I want, specifically from this table. By the way, let's restrict the number of rows that are returned by this expression. And once you've done all of this, let's order the result by last name. If I was to put the order by before, let's say the where clause, I would expect it to error out. And of course it does, because it doesn't understand why where is here. Of course, if I got rid of the where clause, we know this will work because it knows that we're really getting every row from person and then order by last name. So by the time it gets to here and it's thinking about sorting and it sees that filter condition for the where clause, it's like, I don't know what you're really talking about. You got things out of sequence. So let's put it back the way it's supposed to be. And here we have it ordered by last name. Let's execute that. You can see it's bringing back all the B's. Now if I would have said greater than B, I think this still is going to bring back the same amount of records. It does. But maybe somebody has the last name B. And if that's the case, by using the greater than, I would be excluding that person whose last name is just the letter B. So it's always safe to use the range and include the value. Okay. So one last condition I want to talk about is the end condition. And to do this, I'm going to use a different table. I'm going to use human resources employee. Let me grab my search here. And what we're going to do is restrict our search to specific job titles. So as you can see here, I'm bringing back a bunch of employees. They all have different job titles. And what I want to do is restrict it to some specific ones, essentially accountant, buyer, and stocker. So what I'm going to use is the where clause. And then I can say job title. And then in. And I'm going to specify a set of values. So I can say accountant. So either accountant or buyer. Or let's say stocker. I'm just going to tidy this up slightly here. And now what it should do is bring back anybody whose job title is accountant, buyer, or stocker. All right. And here you can see that. Now I'm going to add a bogus value here just to show you what would happen if I did that. So we'll put in like ZZZ, right? Which is a job title that doesn't exist. So is it still going to bring back records, or will it, seeing a bogus value, stop and bring back nothing? As you'd expect, it's going to bring back everyone that matches either accountant, buyer, stocker, or ZZZ. Since there aren't any in ZZZ, you don't see any, but it didn't preclude the rest of the results from being displayed. And this is really a good segue into ordering by Boolean algebra, because this really is kind of like an OR statement, and we'll talk about in the next lesson. But just to kind of tie it together, what this really is going to look like is the ability to take the job title here and actually make separate clauses out of it, where I can say job title is accountant equals accountant, or I could say job title equals buyer, or job title equals stocker, right? Let's clean this up a little bit. I'm going to indent this just so you can kind of see them line up. So this is the same type of statement as using the in clause right here. And when I run this, you'd expect to see the same results. So in the next lesson, we'll talk about how you can use Boolean algebra, which is using like ands and ors to string together results. But hopefully this gives you a quick preview of that.